Good evening, friends. My fellow Americans and friends from around the world, especially my friends up in Canada, our home and native land. True patriots love of all our hearts demand. Is that it? I think I got it. Kind of got it. Today is second Monday. Hi, everybody. It is a special edition of the Blathering, Tuesday night edition, which I will say, hey, and we're starting at 5 o'clock. If some of the things I want to have happen in my life, job-wise, got a cool little industry job I'm hoping to get soon. Tuesdays might become more of a regular time. And a little bit later here on the West Coast, the best coast. So stay tuned for that. But right now, still waiting on words. Either way, you know, I love that limbo when you're just waiting for something that means the world to you, but it's a Tuesday to them. And, I'm waiting for some yeses, but also I'd take a no. I got a no yesterday. I got one no yesterday on something that sucks, but it wasn't the thing. It wasn't the main thing. So all that to say, I'm happy to be here. The Blathering is actually growing in a big way. There is a YouTube channel that exists. 898 firms in that situation. True. Well, true. Too. Brady, I'd say yes to you. The Blathering is growing. I'll say this. You know what? Let me see if I can even see it. Let's see here. Let me see here. Before I even try to talk about this, is this active? Did it show up? I don't know. It's not showing up quite yet. Okay. All right. I'll figure out why. So there's a second YouTube channel coming very soon called Blathering Backstage. The Blathering Backstage. Or is it that? Maybe that's it. Sorry. I should have checked this out before the show started. Maybe not yet. Okay. It's not there yet. Maybe it has to populate. I don't know what's going on. I'll figure that part out, but we'll drop a link. So I have launched, but it's completely undeveloped. Like, there's nothing on it right now, which might be why it's not showing up, called the Blathering Backstage. And that is going to be your home soon, not quite yet, soon, for clips, clip-outs, things that are in the live show that appear other places, and maybe some shorts that are more Blathering related versus some of the stuff that's on my channel that might be stand-up or just me in a backyard talking. It's also going to be a spot, too, where you might see a Blathering Backstage show where you all will get to hang out if you want to with producer Steve and other cast of characters that have been developing here. It'd be a community show. I'll let producer Steve talk about it a little bit, but he had this great idea that this show here is kind of like it's a live living Discord server. In fact, you know what? Why don't I just see if he wants to talk about it? Producer Steve, how are you doing today?
Happy Tuesday, Ken. Hello, everybody. So glad to be here. Yes, you got your mug. I've got pint glass as always. Yeah, happy Tuesday. But no, thank you. Yeah, that's what this is, a community-driven show, right? Discord's a community-driven platform. God, I sound like I'm trying to sell something when I say that. But I am, and we are, and that's what this is, Ken. It's radio on the internet, but not radio on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, we got sports and weathers on the fives, but you had pitched this as just kind of a live and living Discord server where we go here and we talk, and it's all about the community. And this hump sitting here on the camera, and now you with me, we're just part of it. But cool things coming. So. We'll figure that out there. Cameron Stewart says, let me answer this real quick, Steve. Business. Cameron Stewart says, I don't want to be a special snowflake here, but I joined the Patreon this week and just wondering how to get in the Discord. I'll send you the link, Cameron, via direct message on Patreon. You join at the friendship level, which I realize is not connected to the Discord. I have to correct that on the back end because then you would automatically get the invite. You know what I'm talking about, Steve?
Yeah, if someone has issues, reach out to me in a comment or something somewhere. Producer Steve will help you out. I'll get you connected.
Producer Steve will get you connected indeed. Senders here, cast of characters. We're like a stern whack pack. Yeah, essentially. Look, it's a good idea and it works. And I'm not the first to come through and try to say, hey, let's just do this, but I feel I'm in my element finally after all these years. This is what I would love to do along with Force Center and Casually Talk and the other things. But the blathering and the blathering world has just sprung up in a way I didn't even expect. So Cameron Stewart thinks this is that Cal locked him out. It's possible. It's possible. And we got Ken Bloom saying Steve is introducing an innovative paradigm shift in content creation, driving audience engagement. And it's true. It's true.
I didn't know Ken was hacking my emails and sitting in on my sales calls during my real life during the workday. Thank you for that, Ken.
Sean McCabe says this is our church, which is dangerous because that might mean I'm the cult leader. I am a white man with a beard and podcast gear, so it's dangerous, as are you. One thing, speaking of Sean McCabe, I wanted to bring this up. We are truly a community-based show here, and we wanted to share the great news that Sean's son, Liam just got his blue belt in karate, Steve, this weekend. Big effort there. Look at that luxurious hair. He is a not just a fighter, because in karate, you're not there to fight. You're there to learn not to fight. But a big accomplishment for Liam there. Blue belt. How far did you go in karate, Steve?
Not far at all, as far as, getting to... not getting to do it at all.
Yes.
I never did karate. It was not one of my things growing up. But this is awesome. I'm so happy I love the hair. First of all, as someone with long hair, appreciate and love the hair. That's amazing. But no, congratulations.
Yeah, big win, Liam, and it's always not the important thing to learn, Liam, is it's not always about the wins. It's not about the end of the journey. It's truly about the journey in sports and the things you're learning now in karate, the discipline, the approach, what I hope is sportsmanship, and maybe even teamwork with those on your squad. Are there karate squads? I don't know. I didn't get that far in karate, but Liam, you're learning wonderful life skills there, and you got your dad showing you how. Also, I do, and highlighting Liam's performance here. Those medals, he's got a ton of medals. That he's got enough for Chewbacca even to just pass it along there. So wonderful stuff, Liam. We're very happy for you to get your blue belt in karate there. We have got some stuff tonight. We got a little Game of Thrones call, I'm sure, coming in with Jared. We didn't have one last week. I asked him. I said, I slow down. I said, Jared, slow down. I got a concept of a plan for something else. We got calls tonight. If you guys want to call in, you can become a channel member here on YouTube or a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/Ken Knapsack. From there, you get in to the Discord. If I get it hooked up right, Cameron will tell you it's not always the case. But also my show, Pop Rockin' Radio. The video version of a Monday morning show. I really love the playlist I put together for Pop Rockin' Radio this past week. We're putting together another one this week there. And if you happen to be listening to, I don't know if a lot of you do, Old Handsaw, God bless him, Old Handsaw and Padlock McGee, which is my new name for her, but Ball Drop.
Those are not real names. Those are not real names.
Old Handsaw, yeah, Sean, bass player, engineer, producer of the Moon Agers with me and Tiller. And Ball Drop McGee, Christy McGee. They used to listen to me on the radio in Pennsylvania at Hall of Fame Music Radio. So, Steve, I know you don't, but I have a new time. I'm on the air 12 to 3 Eastern there, Saturdays, Hall of Fame Music Radio. Listen to it on the TuneIn Radio app or their website, hofmradio.com. There you go. You back, Steve? You scared people?
I'm okay. I heard a doot to doot while we were talking about the karate amazing karate awards, and I realized the doot to doot was my camera dying, but everything else was fine. So it was one of those like, we're all fine here. How are you?
How are you?
But we changed to the BRB screen. The mic was still working, and we're here. We're live. This is why I'm a highly skilled, highly paid producer, Ken.
Highly skilled, highly paid. And then what do we got business wise? Tully says can't find the community page. Maybe because I banned you from a Tully. I'm kidding, Tully. Get in there. Call into the show. We got Super Chat. We have got Super Blathers coming. So the rundown tonight I was starting to get to. Game of Thrones call. Jared's going to swing on that. And again, some of you might not be Game of Thrones fans or it's something you watch, dive into. But this is what we do. We hang out. We go different spots. And then these get clipped out and put on Casually Talk. We got 16 seconds of sports. And the big announcement tonight, Steve, we have the finals set. We've been doing the Blather bracket for now, seems like the entire year. It's been a lot of fun. I mean that warmly. I mean, that sounds cynical, doesn't it? But 64 are the greatest scenes in movies, in Marvel, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Star Trek. We have gotten ourselves down to the final two, Steve. We're going to announce that about 45 minutes after tonight.
Yeah, we're down to the last two scenes. I'm pretty sure the basketball players who started their tournament when we started our bracket have already gotten post-doctorate degrees and everything at this point.
Yeah.
But hey, we're finishing strong, Ken.
There we go. Important question coming in from Will McClain. Are you going to watch the first two episodes of Tales of the Underworld and Fortnite? I have no plans to. They're not offering me enough. They're offering an Asajj Ventress load-up screen, warm-up screen. I don't need that. Steve, you played Fortnite with me. I rotate between about 3 or 4 skins. I don't really do a lot of other. So I don't know. We'll see. Also, it starts at. I know you can watch at any point all day, but it starts at 7 a.m. my time. Steve, ain't nobody got time for that.
Whew. Yeah, that puts a hole in that whole West Coast, Best Coast mantra, I guess. But
yeah, you're right.
I'll catch it later on.
You're right. You won that round, Moriarty. You won that round. You stung me there. Yeah. It would be 10 a.m. if I was living over there with my buddy John Mariano in his basement. All right. We got calls tonight, too. Oh, my gosh. Here's what's happening. You know what's happening? I'm choking on food. Steve, I went to the kitchen. No, I didn't eat yet. I'm starving right now. I shouldn't just address this to you, everyone in the audience. I took my branded mug and I went into my kitchen to fill up water. That's water. And yesterday at Trader Joe's, I just swung through. I was helping. Actually, I was a hero. I helped a friend yesterday whose car broke down get to the grocery store to get food for the family. And I was like, yeah, I'll take you over there. And then I got some corn chips. They had these wonderful, Trader Joe's kind of brand Frito corn chip things. And I saw the bag sitting there on the counter, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I'll have a couple of those. I better not, because I will choke on air. I did it anyways, and I'm choking.
Yeah, you powered through, though. Good job.
Not the first time I've gotten through with something stuck in my throat. All right, let's get to a call here. We are going to take our first call of the evening, as we often do, because it's a Game of Thrones call. It is our buddy Jared, the TIE pilot, calling in from the greater Boston metro area. How you doing, Jared?
Not too bad, Ken. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
We're doing good, my friend. We're doing good. We're hanging in there. Happy to be here on a Tuesday night. Do you have a preference, Jared? Tuesdays, Mondays, 5 nights a week? What's your blathering preference?
I mean, I would take Tuesdays. I've been persistent on. I've been there on the Mondays only because I do D&D on Mondays, but because trying to get a D&D session is worse than herding cats. We haven't played in like a month.
I know that feeling. I got a friend struggling with that right now. All right. I'm still choking on that corn chip. Here we go. Jared loves calling in with some Game of Thrones questions for me. We clip these out, put them on Casterly Talk or here on Casterly Talk if you're watching. So, Jared, take it away. Where are we going in these kind of this quasi Game of Thrones rewatch series?
Yep. Oh, I told you we got to bully you into doing it, and it works. So tonight we got Season 5, Episode 4, Sons of the Harpy, written by David Hill, directed by Mark Mylor. And and this one is a packed episode. It's got, I think, about 6 stops from the Wall to Dorne and all the way to Marine and everything in between. Yep, it goes everywhere. But
yes, it does.
The scene I want to dive into tonight is Stannis at the Wall with Shireen. Stannis is in the office doing paperwork as a true king does. Daughter walks in. And basically, long story short, asks, are you ashamed of me because of the grayscale? And he tells her the story of how he called every healer, maester, and apothecary to come heal her, because he also told everybody to go to hell when they said send her to Volantis. So it's such a beautiful scene. And yes, we are not that far away from Stannis being the most awful son of a... But I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Yep.
Let us focus on how great of a father he is in this scene.
Yes, and he is in this scene. And up to this point, I mean, no, he hasn't been a great father. I mean, take that back. Even in jest, I can't say that. He's been a pretty distant father. He's been Stannis. And if you've listened to Casterly Talk or Daily Thrones or Me Talk Game of Thrones anywhere, maybe you watched Talking Thrones back in the day with Tiffany and Michelle Boyd and Maud Garrett and that time frame. You know I love Stannis. In fact, that was the season, that show, excuse me, The Night is Dark, I should say. The Night is Dark. Talking Thrones was on Screen Junkies and Collider. I was known as a Stannis guy. I'm still a Stannis guy. And this was a very kind of victorious moment for me, Jared. This episode, even all the stuff that goes on in this episode, and there's a lot, like you said, this episode ended, and I'm riding the high of the end of season 4 with Stannis saving the day. I'm kind of recruiting people on my side a little bit, that Stannis is the Manus, that the Iron Throne is his by right. And here he is, just being, for once maybe, a good father, telling the story in this wonderful, wonderful scene with Shireen, which I do believe, is this the scene or one of the scenes with Shireen that has all the Houses of the Dragon spoilers in it that you could want?
No, that was
that later.
I believe that one. Yeah, I think it was earlier actually. I think that already happened.
There you go. Beware.
That was on Dragon Keep.
Yeah, beware if you're a House of the Dragon fan who hasn't read the Fire and Blood book. Anyway, so I love this moment, Steve, and Jared, and Steve's here as well. But this episode ended, and everyone watching with me were like, "All right, maybe you've been right," and I was like, "God damn straight, I've been right." I had no idea this was gonna end up where it went.
And that's what's most heartbreaking about the rewatch of this scene. It's just like, bro, and I kind of agree with you. Like, no, he's no Eddard Stark father, but he's also not terrible to Shireen. Like, she knows he loves her. He's just Stannis, and it's not malice, and she accepts her father as that. Mm-hmm. It's the mom who's needs, child protective services called on.
Mom's, the meat's turned a little bit. The meat's turned over there a little bit with mom.
But the sincerity in that story that he has for her, and just letting her know, like, no, you are the Princess Shireen. Like, of course, I'm not ashamed of you.
Yeah, and we're talking, around the burning of her and the murder of her, that the sacrifice of her that he goes through, and I say this before, I've said it before in this channel, and I'll say it here now. It's like I identified with Stannis early on. There's a lot I love about the character. I also think Stephen Delane's just a wonderful performer. But I don't want anyone to ever think that it's like he's who you should follow. As the show goes on, I dug deeper into the themes and what was being presented by the story in terms of just the art and these characters. Stannis is this ongoing lesson of the danger of losing self and losing who you are. And I think in this scene, what they're essentially setting up, and I don't mean to just say it's a plot point setting up something further, but it serves the purpose of saying he was a good father, or could have been, and has had this wonderful, as you said, sincere moment that you are kind of, if you're not wiping a tear away, you might be fist pumping a little bit. I was in the room. I was crying and fist pumping. But he loses that. He loses that in the pursuit of not just the throne or what he feels is his, but this obsession. And he loses all these good things about him. He was always a curmudgeon, always a grump. No one wanted to hang out with him. That's why a lot of people just didn't want him on the throne. Bit of an a-hole, but he got the job done. He cared for those around him. Davos is an example of that. He just had some problems at home. Saying with quotation marks around it, so not defending him, but I'm just saying, but he lost himself, and this scene really reminds that. What happens to him later on in the fight and the Battle of Winterfell, all this stuff, by then it's all already gone. It's fait accompli. It's done. But this is a moment where you're still rooting for him. I am still rooting for him. Of don't lose yourself. This is who you really are. But when faced with the idea of even sacrificing his daughter for some power based on some magic that he's never believed in, that's where we meet him. Even his brother has, I can see why you found religion in your old age, as he looks at Melisandre and this and that. But Crespin early on, Oliver Ford Davies, C.O. Bibble from Phantom Menace and the Star Wars prequels, is like, what are you doing, man? Davos, what is he doing? This isn't you. And that's the start of his journey, and this is a heart-wrenching moment. And in a weird way, I love it, Jared.
It is, because it shows, too. Again, he's not an evil man. He has a sense of honor and purpose, but he, again, like you excellently said, he lets it get to his head. He lets Melisandre sell it strong. She does.
Hey, you know, even in this episode, Melisandre's trying to seduce Jon Snow to Stannis' side, and they have that great scene in the elevator and the "you know nothing" Jon Snow line and everything about her up there. Yeah, it's there's a lot at work here. But in a busy episode, I'm glad you highlighted this, not just for my love of Stannis or my years defending Stannis while everyone rolls their eyes at me. Every time I'd mention Stannis Baratheon, Michelle Boyd would start screaming at me on shows, as she should have. But yeah, this is one of my favorite moments because of what we're talking about here today.
Yeah. No, I chose it mostly because I think it is the best scene in the episode. It's a packed episode, but like I feel there's a lot of could been better. Sand snake scene and whatnot.
Yep.
The Cersei stuff in King's Landing wasn't a particularly good standout. The Bronn a couple of the Bronn conversations with Jaime, but no, man, it's Stannis and his daughter in that quiet room.
I kind of agree that just rolling through the scenes, King's Landing, Cersei, the Iron Bank. I love, we got mentions of the Iron Bank. We got the High Sparrow, the Face Militant. They're starting to go a little wild there. Yeah, the introduction of the Sand Snakes, which is something I really look forward to. And in years on now, I do think the show did a good job of what they had, but it was a lot. And as I've mentioned before, the producers have talked about it. But I agree, Jared. Stannis wins the day. And everything worked out after this.
Actually, of course. Always. They all lived happily ever after.
They did. They did. Happily ever after. Well, there you go. That is why I like Stannis. That is the lessons of Stannis Baratheon. Stannis Amanus. I get it. Yes, he did some horrible things. But he paid the price, friends. He paid the price. Jared, thanks for the Game of Thrones call.
Of course. So next week we got episode 5, Kill the Boy.
Oh, God, that's a great one, too. I might just have to rewatch them. All right. Thank you, Jared.
All right, brother.
Jared the TIE Pilot there. Appreciate that. The full clip out, of course, goes on to Casterly Talk. So subscribe over there at Casterly Talk. Subscribe to Sports Card ASMR. Pretty soon you'll be able to subscribe to Blathering Backstage. We got a lot going on around these parts, Steve. Don't forget to subscribe to Anytime with Ken and Alden. Though there's no Anytime with Ken and Alden this week because Alden's going to be in town. And me and Alden and Nikki Kumar are going to go to the Comedy Store. So maybe we'll record something there. No.
Very exciting. Yeah, we'd love to hear from Alden and Ken together as a little IRL, whether that's a video or a stream on one of those days. That'd be amazing.
That'd be good. All right. What do we got here tonight? We're going to do 16 seconds of sports in a bit, but I think it's time to take a call from our buddy Chris. Chris King calling into the show tonight. So we love when Chris calls in because it's usually something warm and poignant. Maybe tonight's the night he's drunk on beer and he just wants to talk wrestling. I don't know. Chris, welcome to the show.
It's good to be back, Ken. How you doing?
I'm taking the wins minute by minute.
Yeah. I do have something warm and poignant to share, but not to necessarily talk about the whole time. But
okay.
I had a great conversation with the student today. He asked me to write his college recommendation, and we talked for an hour about how me teaching him poetry this year allowed him to like really value that and bring it into his life, and also help him get a girlfriend. So it was
wow.
Yeah, right. So.
Okay. As a teacher, as an educator, and without a doubt, educators can be so much more, and I think should be so much more. It's hard to ask that. I mean, I'm not talking about hey, above your pay scale, maybe we should pay you all more. I want to make that clear, but it's not an expectation. But I think if you're doing it right, you are automatically more to everyone in class. And I've had my moments and memories there. I know you're not you don't go back to your own house and like put like a star on the wall. Like I influenced another one, but when you're driving home, give yourself the props, man. How does that feel? How does that feel when you connect like that?
Best part of my day, for sure. And I told him that I told him, I was like, I'll give you the honest thing that most teachers might not tell you. There's a few moments every year that always make us, want to keep doing this. And I go, you just gave me one today, man, with sharing that, and you didn't have to. And no, it feels nice. And especially we're about done the school year in about a month. and so the burnout is there, but you have a conversation like that, and it's it just you know.
Yeah, you want to, you're looking for a summer vacation. You're looking to, just get home for the day, and it's a job. It's a job, and you got to have that. I'm sure there's some moments where you have to almost like shake it up, like, all right, I got to clue in, I got to clock in. This kid needs help. Like, I get that. But the real connections that probably just come out of you being you as a teacher are what's on display here. So as Laserbolt said in chat, you made a difference in his life. He will always remember that. He will always remember you. Good stuff, man.
I appreciate it. Well, and thank you guys for the nice comments here. I appreciate that too. I did want to ask you though. So I have the game on mute right now because I wanted to watch and call into the Blathering, but I'm watching my beloved Philadelphia Phillies. Okay. And the reason why, Ken, I think this is such a sacrifice that I put it on mute is I'm missing the broadcasting amazingness that is John Kruk. And I don't know if you've ever seen any of John Kruk's bits on. No. Have you seen the clip? Have you never seen any of the clip outs of him talking?
No, I absolutely got to go down this rabbit hole. I've always loved Johnny Kruk. I saw him play in '88 for the Padres. I saw him believe it or not, I saw him make a diving catch in left field for the Padres, July 4th, 1988, in a game against the Pirates, which the Padres won 4-3 in 10 innings on a Chris Brown single up the middle. Never forget it. My first Major League game that I watched. So I've loved John Kruk. So I did not know he was announcing. He's the color commentator?
Yeah, he's the color commentator for most of the Phillies home games, and he's been that way since, I think, 2019 or so. So he's been doing it for a few years now. And if you just type in John Kruk, like crazy stories, the best is how he just derails a game whenever there's that quiet moment, and he'll turn to Tom McCarthy, our broadcaster, and just go, Tom, did I ever tell you why we call my friend from West Virginia Wizzy? And Tom's just like, what? And he just starts giving like a whole story of so
I will check that.
They're fantastic. And I guess I wanted to ask you, I have another favorite of mine. He passed away back in 2009. He was the play-by-play for the Phillies, who was Harry Kalas.
Oh, Harry Kalas.
Yeah. But yes. I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite announcer from growing up or currently right now? Like when you're watching a baseball game, who do you like to listen to?
I mean, I got to tell you right now, Kalas was always one of my favorites there. Michael Jack Schmidt's 500th home run. Harry Kalas was one of my favorites. I absolutely love Harry Kalas. But I didn't grow up listening to him. Look, I grew up in the Central Coast of California, literally between four Major League teams. 898 for him would not know what to do with it. I could literally, within the span of 3 or 4 twists of the dial, get the Oakland A's, San Francisco Giants, California Angels broadcast, and, of course, the Dodgers. Even though I was a West Coast Yankee fan, so I didn't spend a lot of time with the Yankee announcers. I spent more time with those out here, and they all were wonderful in their own way. Without a doubt, I start and often maybe even end the conversation with Vin Scully. He was the sound of summer. He was also the sound of a larger world, meaning I am this kid from this small town. Had dreams of being a Major League Baseball player. Had dreams of being an announcer myself. Had dreams of being a baseball statistician, but also just had dreams of growing up. And here is this homespun, sweet soul of a man broadcasting from Los Angeles, California now by the time I'm hearing him. And to me, sitting alone in my room on a Friday night after a tough week of school in junior high and listening to the Dodger game against, I don't know, the Houston Astros when they're in the National League, it's like it was more than the game. It was Vin talking about the world I had not yet touched. And I've always looked at Vin as the voice of just my youth and the voice of, like I said, the summer and the voice of what was possible. Just telling stories and the players and the histories and everything we do. That's why the baseball as a sport is just more valuable to me than just simply a sport. The other announcers were great too. Lon Simmons up in Oakland. There was Ron Fairley and all these folks on the Giants broadcast. Bob Starr, who was down there in Anaheim, did a lot of TV for KTLA. Bob Starr and Joe Torre were a broadcast team in the late 80s for a while before Torre went back to managing with the Cardinals. Bob Starr had one of the best voices, just a classic announcer, big burly guy. He looked like he was going to sell you insurance or a car, or whichever you wanted first. And that is also the sound of Saturday mornings, listening to the Angels, especially when the Yankees were in town. and just miss those kind of things. But yeah, that's my experience on the West Coast.
No, thank you. Yeah, I figured it would probably be Vin, but I was curious, and hearing you say, I love what you said with it's like a world you hadn't touched yet. That's Harry Callis was the same for me. He was the voice of summer, but there was such a, there was the stories he would tell, and then him with I don't remember him and Richie Ashburn together as much, but even like the seeing the clips of that, but just there was this history, there was this gravel and in the voice, but also this this warmth, and those kind of broadcasters to me are always why. And I know there's debate about whether you would call it a baseball movie or not. I know people in general would call it a baseball movie or not. Like Field of Dreams, like those broadcasters to me, like those announcers, they're kind of what Field of Dreams is all about, right? With like the kind of history of baseball, the kind of storytelling of baseball, and because that's what they did. They were storytellers. They knew when to give the game air, right? To give it a breath and just let the moment be. They knew when to do a Michael Jack Schmidt or Harry's call. That ball's out of there. So
that ball's out of there, Harry Callis. Yeah, no, you're right. And the game has changed, and just broadcast in general has changed. That isn't a swipe against. I like a lot of modern announcers. This is very unpopular. I actually like Joe Buck. I actually like him sometimes. I know a lot of people. I just something about him. He's got a wry sense of humor. But I also, grew up. His father, Jack Buck, was also one of my favorites because he'd do the CBS games and do football as well. And the World Series, the Twins are going to win the World Series. Or Jack Buck's call of Kirby Puckett's home run. We'll see you tomorrow night. One of my favorites. Absolutely love it. But yeah, man, I love hearing. I'm going to go seek out the Crux stuff because announcing has changed. Where I was starting to go with that is I do feel there's some of the personality taken out of it. And I do feel the characters are gone. But to hear that there's John Kruk, who is a player to me, but a retired oldie to others, being weird and wacky and wild and telling a story about his friend Wizzy, like that's what baseball announcing on the radio or on local TV should be.
100% agree. And I'd also say to people, if you want to look at Kruk as a player, just watch him face Randy Johnson in the clip of him against Randy Johnson in the All-Star game, right? That's
doing that.
My God, so good. So but thank you so much, Ken. I appreciate it, man.
You got it, Chris King calling in. I wish I could actually do a Harry Callis voice, but that's Chris King with a big call there. Steve, did you grow up with Harry Callis talking about your Phillies?
No, I was my big radio romance as a child was with Eagle games with Merrill Reese and listening to those because that was my connection to I'm the nerd who still to this day, especially with baseball, this is why I love the MLB package you get. I'll watch the game, but I will listen to the radio feed wherever I can do that. I will do that.
It's different, man. It's why I love radio, even though I know it's moved on. The world's moved on. I get it. But even what we try to do here, it is different. It is, and Narcolepsy 27 has it in there. To me, a great announcer will have you seen the game in your head if you can't watch it yourself, and you have to on baseball. It's special in all sports. The amount of, as big of a sports fan as I am, and we're about to do 16 seconds of sports here, I didn't watch as much of it on TV as a kid. We had one TV in the house. I didn't have my own TV. I didn't have that until I think in the 90s. And even then I had a computer monitor that I plugged like a cable into. But it was radio. It was radio. Listening to Jack Buck and Hank Stram do Monday Night Football. I listened to them more than I got to watch Al Michaels, Gifford, and Deardorff, who were great. And when the Dolphins played, I got to kind of reserve the TV. But radio, man. Radio, said the old man on the new format.
No, it was great. Yeah, radio for me was I traveled all the time as a kid, and so I was always in the car or just somewhere, and I had a little CD player thing that had a radio on it. It was fancy, and so I would always listen to, and if God forbid I had to travel during football, but it was usually I got baseball or something like that, and wherever I lived, it was that local radio team. So, but yeah, that's my connection. I loved it. It was just always that radio was always there for you. You could always put it on the background. No matter what time. Some of my favorite radios were like ESPN's late night, overnight guys, like Valvano and all those dudes who just did great sports talk for just hours.
Did you? It's such a Dodger Stadium thing back in the day, but I got to imagine, and that's what I love about all great sports announcers. It is kind of regional, even though they had national exposure. And Scully calling the '86 World Series is amazing. I sometimes just go watch that final inning from Game 6 on YouTube. The MLB Vault got that, and you watch him and Garagiola talk about everything going on in that game. But I know if you're in Detroit, Lauren and Laserbolt probably grew up with Ernie Harwell. We also had out there in Cleveland? I saw Tully mention him earlier. Was it Jim Donovan, who just recently passed away? There's all these kind of things. But for you, going to, like, say, a Phillies game, if you got there as a chance as a kid or wherever you went to, was it the same for me as for you as me, where if I walked into Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, and the game was going, you could hear Vin everywhere because everyone had a transistor radio playing because people wanted to hear Vin, even though they were at the game. And so wherever you went, you'd hear Vin in the stadium, and it was spiritual at times.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, all the time. My dad would do that all the time with, and I mean, I grew up with the Reds and Brenneman and everything. And we had,
Marty, not Tom.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, of course, the Reds fans know, but
Castellanos is going to hit a home run there. It's 4-0 Reds.
I don't know if I'm ever put this headset back on, Ken. Especially after my camera died.
I watched that clip last night, by the way. It popped up my algorithm, and I was like, let's watch it. Anyways, you were going on about Brenneman.
No, I'm just, that was my baseball, childhood for me was Marty. But for me, the radio in the stadium that's how you're like looking around. You see a real one is the dude who's just sitting there. He's got his legs crossed. He's got his knee over. He's got the headset on where he's listening to the radio, and he's got the scores sheet out, and he's sitting there keeping score.
Yep.
That's the dude you want to sit next to at the baseball game.
Yep.
Assuming he's not like a total weirdo when he talks to you. If that dude can hold a conversation, that's the guy you want.
I don't want to know that guy's opinions on Ray Skywalker or Kathleen Kennedy, but I do want to watch baseball with him. Baseball with him. 898 for M. I know you go to Dodger Stadium or love those Dodgers or the Lakers, but it was amazing. And I got to imagine, I don't know, Laker games, I didn't go. I've never been to an NBA game, but I got to imagine maybe with Chick Hearn it was the same thing. So there we go. We'll take some more calls here in the show. 898-4M will be on the show as well, calling in. If you want to call in, you just got to be a YouTube channel member, or you can be a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/catnapsuck. I have the links posted there on the YouTube membership page, then the community tab under the posts. I will refresh them too. And, it's Tuesday, but it's the Monday link. Thursday, Saturday kind of remains the weekends, but I'll freshen them up as we go along there. So, all right, Steve, I think we're ready to dive more into sports. What do you got?
All right, let's do it. Let's do 16 seconds of sports. Football heavy this week, but the NFL draft concluded this weekend. Cam Ward goes number 1 overall from the University of Miami to the Tennessee Titans. The NFL keeps letting top-grade players fall all the way to the end of the first round and go to my Eagles. And the Dolphins drafted a quarterback who had an animal head on his wall for just about every creature that was on Noah's Ark, except for maybe an actual dolphin. And then the biggest story from the draft was Shedeur Sanders slid all the way to the 5th round. He was projected to go like in the top 10 picks. Mel Kiper, ESPN's draft expert, was losing his mind on live television. But worst of all, Shedeur was finally drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot there. What do you want me to address first?
Talk to me about your Dolphins. I want to know, did you like your draft? Was there anything you did like? Was it about your new backup quarterback?
Quinn Ewers, 7th round pick. I really like the Dolphins draft. I've seen it rated as a B+ or an A-. I think we needed to get a lot of players. We are a team that has a lot of issues on field, off field, in the budget room. Our budget, our salary cap is messed up. Who knows if we'll trade Jalen Ramsey? Who knows if we'll trade Tyreek Hill? At this point, I'm fine with losing both of them because it seems to be a clubhouse issue more than anything. But I liked it. We got some work-a-day players. We got some lunch pail guys. We got 3 nose tackles. I don't think that's happened since 1969 on a team. And I'm excited. We got a big bruising running back, which we had talked about on Saturday, Ollie Gordon II. Like, I like where we went. We didn't get flash. We didn't work the glory muscles. We're going for the breadbasket. And it's going to make us a tougher team, which is what needs to happen if the Dolphins have any chance this year. I think we also have a lot of offensive weapons to still play with. Quinn Ewers, I don't know much about him. Don't watch the college game, but I read a lot of things about him. He's kind of an unrefined prospect. 7th round. He's going to go on the practice squad. We got Zach Wilson. We'll see what happens. But in terms of, should they had a chance in the 5th round. They were sitting there, maybe looking at Sanders. It's an option. A lot of people out there said Sanders could fit well in the Miami system if they needed him to. They decided, I think, went with Jordan Phillips. I'm fine with it. It's been an interesting and a dangerous discourse that I can't get too much into because I just don't know Sanders as a player. I don't watch college football. I know Coach Prime's his dad, and I know that's a lot of baggage. And I know this NFL does not like players who will taint the shield of the NFL, and that this might have been, not saying collusion, but this might have been a collective, you ain't going to mess around with us, which is heavy and complicated and laden with a lot of potential issues, not all good, that I don't know if I want to step in, Steve, because I just don't know enough about him as a player. You?
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. And the interesting thing to me about it is, yes, there are a lot of don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Things about this discourse, but for me, that it's how did we go from everyone talking about this guy being a top 10 pick in talent to going all the way to the 5th round? Because yes, like here's the thing, Ken, they talk all the time about how if you're good enough, here's the thing, if you're good enough, they will make an excuse to take you in the top 10, top round, whatever it is. The joke is, they would just say, oh, Hannibal Lecter has an eating disorder. And that's, we'd find a way to make an excuse. Right. Yeah. So if he had the good, I just feel like if he was really as good as we were being sold, someone would have been like, okay, we can't not take him. But
that is the other side. Yeah, that's the other side of the conversation, because I don't want to. Again, I'm speaking as careful as I can. There are a lot of potential racial and social issues to this thing of this very confident young black man with a very confident, famous black father. Who caused problems for the leagues by just being himself, who had rifts with other people that I think were some legit and some, again, it's not even complicated as swipes away at these important issues. I think that could have been there, and how I had Johnny Manziel's drafted with no hesitation, Baker Mayfield drafted with no hesitation. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks come out of college full of themselves, and that took them pretty far. So there's that. But also there is the side too of sometimes college quarterbacks, man, are not NFL talents. This happens more than the successes, and that's got to be factored in too. And I think that's fair. But a 5th round, no one touching him, falls to Cleveland. Stefanski's got him. We'll see what happens there. It is a little bizarre, Steve.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. I think this was the 2nd most watched draft ever. This drama really added to that for sure. The 2020 draft was the most watched one because we didn't have shit all else to do. It was the middle of COVID. But yeah, it's an interesting story. If you're not into the sports aspect of it, I mean, sure, Sanders is a very popular social media figure and with the young people and everything. So he kind of transcends sports in that regard. He's on KFC commercials and he's all over a place on social media. So you see him places, right? So I think that just adds another element to the story of just the wow, just like how it's just crazy how this all happened.
It does. When you're drafting someone that is a brand more than just a name, and he's not the first, but he's elevated. His father was perfect at this. Prime time. Yeah. Prime time was that was coming into college. This guy knew branding before it was a thing for in terms of social media. And I've always liked Deion Sanders. He was electrifying. And I also didn't love everything he did. I kind of agree with Carlton Fisk knocking him in the face in baseball, where Sanders came up and put the $sign in the dirt, and Fisk put his glove in his face. Like, I get it. I'm okay with that. I'm a little old school in that regard sometimes, but. Look, man, the NFL needs personalities, but do you want to take it? And as a Miami Dolphin fan who has a lot of players with big personal brands, I can see where it could be a problem.
All right, so the note I took from that is if we ever play like a beer softball league game, Ken, I'm flipping the shit out of my bat if I get a hit against you.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the bat flips. I think I'm okay. I wasn't initially. I wasn't. Again, Barry Sanders is my second all-time favorite football player, and he was score touchdown, hand boulder ref, do it again, and act like you've been there. Is something I appreciate, and something I really appreciate from my time in pro wrestling. Where you got to earn your spot. I wish comedy had more of that. I wish I could do some of the things to comics that I could that we could get away with wrestlers. I'm not talking about physical stuff. I always tell the story after one of our first shows back at Millennium Pro Wrestling in 2010. Roddy Piper's on the show, big charity event. We all go out. The core ownership and bookers and stuff. We go to a local restaurant, and there's two guys with us who are green. They just wrestled like some of their first matches. Good dudes. One of them I managed for a while. We walk into this restaurant, and I say, one table. I look around, I go, a table for 7. And then I get told from in my ear, no, that's 2 tables. We have a table for 5 and a table for 2. And I go, they're not eating with us? And they're like, no, Omar and Joe haven't earned the right to sit at our table. And I wish there was a little bit more of that sometimes in life. I really do. But I also, Steve, if you want to flip your bat because it's a goddamn game, let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me have that, Ken. That's one of my, hey, if we're going to fix baseball things, let's just have a little bit more fun. So yeah, I'm going to flip the shit out of my bat if I get a hit on you.
Look, I get it. Like I love Dennis Eckersley. When he would strike you out at the end of the game, he'd fist pump and people hated it. Well, hit the ball. Hit the ball then. You don't like it when Jose Bautista flips a bat 50 feet in the air? Don't give up a home run to him.
There you go.
I don't know. Am I wrong, Steve?
Not at all.
I'd be right. First of all, you ain't hitting a home run off me in a softball game. You ain't hitting a home run off me in a softball game.
Check the tape. I never said home run. I said get a hit. I know my place. I know how to set my expectations.
There you go. Any other lingering things from 16 seconds of sports?
No, I mean those are our sports things. Did you have any? How are your Yankees doing? Do you have any Yankee takes you need to get?
No, I have. I'm once again more focusing on my National League only fantasy baseball team because we are in first place. We are actually in first place, and we've had a couple. We've been in the league now since 1999. My co-owner Corey and I. We've won many titles. We were famous in the league for drafting. Like we had Albert Pujols when he was a minor leaguer. I've said some of the stuff before. But we've had a couple bad years, and I haven't paid as much attention. Corey's got 2 kids. One of them playing high-level high school ball. We're in first place by 5.5 points, Steve. Nice. So I don't care about my Yankees. I care about Carson Kelly, my starting catcher for the Chicago Cubs.
What is your fantasy baseball's team name? Is it appropriate for her?
It is kind of. Yeah, it's our team name is called the Osaka Baseball Concern, which is a long-time deep cut Simpsons reference now. But at the time in 1999, it was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So if anyone remembers that Simpsons episode when they go to Japan, knife goes in, guts come out, the Osaka Concern. So yeah, Osaka Baseball Concern is it.
Yeah, Brady, 1999. That was before 2000. Yeah, it was a different time back then, buddy. Yeah, you probably weren't around.
Yeah, 1999. The other night I watched the MLB Vault was playing the Fernando Tatis Sr. hits 2 grand slams in 1 inning off Chano Park in the Dodgers. I was watching that live in the lobby of the security office when I worked there. We were all watching it, and so I watched it the other night. It was like, oh no, oh God, no. There you go. Hey, shout out to Patrick McCabe, Liam's uncle, coming in here. So there you go. We got House McCabe is strong once again earlier this evening. If you all missed it, Sean, our faithful listener and community member here, his son Liam earned his blue belt this weekend in karate. We're very happy for Liam there. That is someone who probably doesn't bat flip. I have a feeling Liam doesn't bat flip. He hands the ball to the ref because he knows he's going to be there again.
Yeah, but he can also kick your ass. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Next time I'm in New York, I'm calling up Sean and send me Liam. I'm going down some alleys I don't trust. We'll get some super chats at the end of this. So top of the hour, we'll do this top of the hour 1800 hours in my time zone. We're gonna reveal the finals for the Blather bracket. Going to be fun. But I think right now we're going to take a call from Mr. Brady 8984M. And see what he can do to break our aging hearts when he says something like, I don't even know who Vin Scully is, which is not true. Hey, Brady, how are you?
Forgive me for I'm about to sin.
Brady, you can confess your sins. Steve's about to be Pope, okay? Steve or Trump are about to be Pope, so there you go. What do you got, Brady?
So I'm Revenge of the Sith is all I can think about right now.
Okay, yes, this is your calls lead the show.
Third call in a row.
It's okay, man. What do you want to talk about Revenge of the Sith?
I'm probably going to talk about it on Thursday as well.
Okay. You're allowed. You're allowed.
Okay.
What's the question? Just hit me with. All you got to do is hit me with the question, Brady.
Okay. So I'm still thinking about the cheering moment with the younglings that you mentioned, because that happened at my second showing.
Okay. And you felt it too.
Yeah, I clutched my pearls. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So to reset this a little bit for those here in my screening, Billy Patterson and I, we had a good little friend date Friday night. The famous scene in which Anakin, I get it's a famous kind of weird scene for people to digest. Anakin comes in, Order 66, Source Bandim, who is the little kid, and the actor had a great interview with Jamie Stangroom not long ago, and it was out on social media today with a big viral clip talking about it. He's great. Source Bandim comes out, Master Anakin said, what are we going to do? There's too many of them. And Anakin extends the blade and kills these kids. So the audience I was in didn't just cheer, erupted. And then a lightsaber came out. Someone in the crowd extended their lightsaber right at the same time. And it was off-putting, Brady, but you felt the same thing then.
Yeah. This time they waited a bit. And then when the lightsaber ignited, there was like one group of guys. They did like that kind of cheer, and they started cheering like it was, I don't know, like some guy hit a massive home run down.
They bat flipped. They lightsaber flipped.
Bat flipped, and then the rest of the theater, like I don't think they knew what was going on. They just joined in with the clapping.
Yeah. And look, and David Mackay said in a previous show, and I think Tully's kind of echoing the same thing right here. It's also just part of internet meme culture. The prequels have been lovingly memed for years, so some emotional context has changed. I really do think that's a giant part of it, and maybe I don't even say it as it's a downfall. It's just kind of where we're at, where I felt. And I said this on Force Center. I don't know how you felt, Brady. I wanted to stand up and be like, but no, it's thematically resonant. He's killing who he was. Don't you say, oh, no. But, it wouldn't matter. Shut up, old man.
Yeah, and I would have been like that one overly, zealous fan.
Yeah. Well, Jay from Nowhere says, my showing had nothing other than a guy vertically filmed Vader marching up the temple steps for some reason. Yeah.
Oh,
at least it wasn't a live chicken. Youngling jockey. But so why is it heavy on your soul, Brady?
I don't know. I think this is going to tie into my question I'm going to ask you. I think the cultural context, there's been so many like school shootings, right? That's that's in our national psyche. It just felt weird to like cheer a moment when that's kind of happening. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like we might be just so numb to it that probably explains why.
I think JMB's saying, I think it's a little ironic. We know how we laugh. You know how we laugh at Family Guy, I think it was a moment thing. It was like, this is, because let's also say the truth about the scene, and you're bringing up some truths, Brady, about just the context now in our times and what we as a society can do better to truly protect our youth, not in false ways like, they're all being groomed and the drag queens are coming for them. That is a false way to try to protect our youth, but to actually, protect them in better ways. I don't know, with some sort of even concept of a plan around gun control, or just to deal with some of the broken souls out there that would perpetrate so much violence. I think there's that, but I also think there's the irony of just the truth of it is this scene for 20 years has always been discussed. If you talk to someone who's just a general Star Wars fan, I love Revenge of the Sith. I love Darth Vader. Man, I can't believe they had him kill the kids. They should have had him wipe out the Jedi. And that's, George always tried to fight against that. George has out and out said in interviews, especially in 2005, you all missed the point. I highlighted that Hayden comes out in a pre-recorded piece in front of the film, says, "I'm glad you're here to watch the fall of Anakin Skywalker to the dark side," but that is lost, and we're just celebrating a character, and we're also celebrating a moment that has been water cooler broken down and discussed for 20 years now too. I think that's there, so it's all there, Brady. It is as layered as the Reese's Pieces and M&Ms in your popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Yep, well said. Yeah. And,
which begs the question, Brady: do you put M&Ms or Reese's Pieces in your popcorn?
I don't get popcorn.
You know what? I actually really understand what you mean there.
It's a little pricey these days.
It's pricey. I love popcorn. I do love popcorn, but it's not my number one favorite movie treat. I do not get it. I think I get it 1 out of every 30 times I go.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, and then this is going to tie to my broader question: is during the time was Columbine still big part of the mind when you saw that scene?
No, I wouldn't say it was. I wouldn't say it was, at least not in my circle. We were concentrating more. First of all, when I saw it in 2005, I want to be clear too. It's easy to listen to me now in Force Center and think, oh, Ken's always been plugged into these themes. I was a pretty dumb viewer too. I just saw it as also, that's weird that he had him kill the kids versus the other Jedi. I was there. That's why I've grown past that and look deeper at things. But for me, and this is for me, there was more conversations about the general politics of George Bush being quoted, all that stuff. And I think, and there has been several between 1999 and 2005, there was absolutely several other probably active shooter, mass shooting events that I don't recall. But for me, again, speaking for myself and my circle, something like Columbine was still viewed as, wow, that was horrific and rare. And so, to me, it wasn't this thing we constantly thought about. And, 9/11 happens too, and that's probably more our focus and goddamn freedom fries and all that shit. But, for me, in my age group, and I don't know if anyone else out there in chat experienced it, it wasn't like, first of all, we were already out of school. And so we didn't even have to think about living with that horror, but it was so horrific. And I watched it play out live. Like, the news broke. And I was home with my roommates, and we all had it on the TV, the one TV we had in our apartment, and we all sat there and watched it. It was horrific. But it seemed so horrific that there's no chance this would happen again, right? And that kind of is why it got compartmentalized and put on the rearview mirror.
Yeah. Well, on a less heavy note.
All right, you got to end it on a positive. Okay, Brady, we went heavy, which is what this show does.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got to go fluffy to end the call. Where are we going to go with fluff?
So we talked about modern memification of our viewing experiences, and part of why I wanted to see Revenge of the Sith, I've seen it a bajillion times, is to kind of experience what it was like in 2005. And I kind of want to loop producer Steve into this as well. Is what were the major cheer moments, some maybe hum moments, maybe even laugh moments? I heard that people laughed at the Vader no scene, but what were the big reaction moments back in 2005?
The Vader no was absolutely one of them, and he's walking like Frankenstein, and I was one of the a-holes who was like, you bring back James Earl Jones to do the Vader voice, and you have him ask about Padme. Like I said, I don't think y'all realize, as much as I say it, how close I was to being what would have been an angry car YouTube guy. I was at that doorstep, because that's what you just did. You ripped pop culture. You didn't praise it or try to understand it. You tried to act above it, even though you enjoyed it. So there was that moment. But I think in terms of cheering, the lightsaber fight, everything on Mustafar, we'd been waiting for that for a long time. And I think that was one of the moments that stand out to me. I don't know if Steve felt something different.
No, well, a little bit. My experience opening night was not as many cheer moments. Yeah, the lightsaber fight at the end between Anakin and Obi-Wan was a moment. The surprising pop that we saw was when they both, at the kind of at the end of the opening scene, where they both kind of haphazardly land the starfighters on the on the ship to try to quote unquote save Palpatine. When they do that and pop out, that kind of got a pop of everyone's like, oh shit, okay, we're here, we're doing this kind of thing. But yeah, you make a good point, Ken. it's kind of thing to remember, especially where I live. You had a different experience, probably a little bit in Hollywood, like in California at least. But Star Wars wasn't quote unquote cool to like a lot of people back then, like especially when Revenge of the Sith came out. Like the hype was there for the Phantom Menace because we didn't know how it was going to go, but it wasn't in the pop culture the same way that it was when The Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy came out, and the way that that kind of culture was embraced in the mainstream more so than when the prequels came out, especially because the reception of the first two prequel movies was, not great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No. There's absolutely no truth to that. And Lord of the Rings, Matrix, a lot of other things, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There's a lot of things that people liked in my age group that they felt more connected with. And Star Wars was something at times people started to feel above, which I still think happens now. I don't want to go into the Andor discourse. I think one of the legacies of Andor will always be that it allowed for other people to continue their journey on being above genre, which is not something that Andor asked to be part of, but it is for me personally. I'm still working through my feelings on it. As people are pointing out, Andor is dropping right now. But yeah, I think that's present there as well. So there you go, Brady. That wasn't. We tried to just do cheer things, but we got deep again, Brady.
This is what happens when you do like Force Center for 10 years.
Yes, it is.
This is what
it is. It always is. All right, Brady. Thanks for calling in, man. And you can talk about Revenge of the Sith anytime you want.
Yes, I'm seeing 40X, so my back will be in pain, and I'll tell you all about it Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, 898-4M calling in here. And yes, a lot of people. Thanks for staying with me, people. We got a few more. We got about maybe 15, 20 more minutes. I got some super blathers to answer. We're gonna talk here about the blather bracket, and then I'm gonna go then for a walk. Come back, take a shower, then watch Andor. But you all can watch Andor right after the show's done. All right, producer Steve, let's go ahead and do this. Full Steve here tonight. We are getting down to it. You are here to announce the finals for the blather bracket.
We are down to the final two in the blather bracket. Ken, thank you so much again for everything with the bracket. Thank you, everyone watching who has voted, who has said things in chat, who has gotten the passion going. This has been awesome talking with people about it for the last month and a half, however the hell long it's taken. But we are down to the last two. Our final four scenes have been voting on since Thursday. It closed yesterday, and we are ready, Ken, to reveal the winners.
We're going to reveal the bracket will go live Thursday during the show. Join us 5 p.m. in the Pacific. All right, here we go. First one, which one you want? You want...
let's do the blowout first.
The blowout is... Oh, yes. Here we go. All right, folks. The blowout. Star Trek. Star Wars. Here we go. Boom.
No big surprise here considering the demo, Ken, but in our first Final Four matchup, we saw the 1 seed from the Star Trek region, Spock's death from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, up against the winner of the Star Wars region, the 5 seed, I Am a Jedi Like My Father Before Me. And as you can see, from a 90% to 10% margin, Star Wars moves on to the final.
Now, I take some responsibility for this because clearly I have a Star Wars-centric audience. I mean, we just that's what I'm known for. That's what I'm going to talk about more. And I respect the hell out of Star Trek. And I love the Spock death. I think that's a absolutely great scene. So I take some responsibility. But 90% to 10%, I'm a little shocked at how big that went.
Yeah, and this was our most voted on round. So,
really?
90. The fact that it was so clean at 90-10 was pretty surprising. But yeah, it was a boat race, man. It wasn't even close. So not surprising, but what are you gonna do?
I like that Laserbolt has intimated that it's been settled. It's over. Society does not need to talk about Star Wars versus Star Trek. We decided it right here. Star Wars wins.
I mean, yeah, as we both have Star Wars shit in the background.
You know what
I mean?
Again.
So like I said, Star Trek was playing a road game and they lost.
They were playing a road game, number 1 seed road game, and like when Vermont Mike in chat says Star Wars was or that the voting was rigged. He's not wrong about that, but I do think it was emotionally rigged. That's what I'm saying. I think just if you're around these parts, Like even like Brian Tiller, I don't think he's never seen a Star Trek. He voted for this because he never seen Star Trek. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna? JMB says stop the steal.
Yeah,
stop the steal. All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
But here's the big one. Here's the next one. So I am a Jedi like my father before me. Will be facing off the winner of this one.
All right, and the other final matchup, we had the 3 seed from both regions, the Marvel region, the Portals, Avengers Assemble, Avengers Endgame went up against the 3 seed from the Lord of the Rings region, You Bow to No One from Return of the King. And this one was a bit closer, but You Bow to No One from the Return of the King takes it, and I don't want to say easily, but by a pretty good margin, 61-38. Marvel put up a little bit more of a fight than Star Trek did, but man, do we have a good matchup starting on Thursday. You Bow to No One against Return of the Jedi. This is gonna be tough.
For Mike admits to voting for LSU out of spite. I love this. I love this. This is the passion we need, Mike. This is the passion we need. In some ways, no surprises in that one too. It's not against anything that's Marvel at all for me. I think this is a franchise that keeps going on. Good early reviews for Thunderbolts. I think Lord of the Rings, those films, and not everyone I know is a fan, and some people love the books more than films. I just think those 3 films, again, we took from those first 3 films. We didn't take for The Hobbit this time around. Steve, am I wrong that they affected generations of people? There's people that, quote that probably say it to their therapist. There's therapists that probably say stuff in those films to them. Like, they were emotional. They were, and yes, Star Wars is, yes, Marvel is, yes, Star Trek is, but those 3 films did something to us as a people.
They did something to us as a people. They did something to us as a pop culture. Remember when I said a few minutes ago that like the prequels, like Star Wars wasn't like cool when you were a kid at that time? I was in middle school when the prequels came out, so I was very much aware of getting picked on for my Star Wars shirts. And the Lord of the Rings movies kind of pushed that culture forward into the mainstream from a fantasy, that stuff becoming more in the mainstream and not just being, oh, you nerds go do your, funny Dungeons and Dragons thing. The Lord of the Rings being as good as it was made the pop culture take that stuff seriously. And 10 years later, you had Game of Thrones, and it's just been on a, right ever since. You can talk about that forever, but you're absolutely right. Like the Lord of the Rings was that it changed shit, and it still holds up 20 years later. Watch the movies now. You can still, the computer graphics still hold up, everything about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And I think that's part of it there too. I love, we got a lot of people with some opinions here. Tully's going Saw Gerrera here. Fans of bold, hard not to take that Star Wars vote as an attack. It was a mandate, Tully. It was a mandate. That's an actual mandate from an election that we all witnessed right there. Jared said Star Wars will battle Lord of the Rings. I'll tell you what, we'll talk more on Thursday. We'll give more of a preview on Thursday, but my early thoughts are, and I have not registered my vote yet. The bracket voting is not live. Yes, Star Wars. Is it going to be a far stretch to think I'm going to vote for Star Wars? Nah, I'm probably going to vote for it. But man, when I am down and out or having a bad time, or it's just Thanksgiving and I'm full, those Lord of the Rings films are church to me. Star Wars is clearly, and I can get deep into the weeds on Star Wars, and it can be a spiritual journey for me. But when I need that oomph, that shot in my heart, I go to those films.
Yeah, aside from Disney's Three Musketeers, the Lord of the Rings is my like super comfort blanket movie. Like when I just needed like to feel better.
Yeah. There you go.
And I mean the old one, not the one with Orlando Bloom. I'm talking the Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland.
The Charlie Sheen, Oliver Platt, Kiefer Sutherland, Chris O'Donnell, is he the 4th?
Yep, he's D'Artagnan. Yep,
D'Artagnan.
And of course, Tim Curry was just. I was terrified. Talk about Catholic guilt. That like I saw Tim Curry in Sister Margaret when I was sitting there in Catholic after school copying Bible verses, getting hit in the back of the neck with a yardstick.
Which is why you're going to be Pope. But I get Three Musketeers changed my life, man. I saw them in theater. I saw them in theater, obviously. And then the first thing I did was like I went to like a barber and was like, make my make my mullet like Sheen's and Sutherland's and Platt's, and I grew that little goatee, a little Van Dyke, and I had my little long flowing relief pitcher mullet, and I want to be a musketeer.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, are you kidding me? I mean, I was running around my kitchen with a broomstick, like thinking I could. Yeah. I love those movies.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Thursday we'll be back for the finals of the Blather bracket. We'll take some. We'll probably take some more calls on it. There, we won't have necessarily designated defenders. We'll take a bunch of calls. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's going to be what's happening Thursday. In the time we have remaining, I got one more call I want to take here from our buddy Sean, and then I got some super blathers to answer here. So Sean's on the phone tonight, buddy. How are you out there?
All good, brother. Just right quick. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. It was a nice big laugh seeing Liam's big mug up there on the TV. And it's actually kind of cool seeing Patty on tonight because, Patty, when I came home from the Army, he dragged me into the whole Schmodown world.
Yeah.
And now tonight I'm dragging him, into Team Zach. So it's full circle, man. It's been a great night.
I love it, man. House McCabe is a special place here, so I appreciate that. Yeah, again, Liam, Sean's son, getting his blue. How long has he been? I'll get this photo up again because it's just a great photo here. But Sean, how long has he been training here?
Only 8 months now.
That's great. He's moving.
Yeah, he's got a good 3 to 4 years until he gets his black belt, but he keeps charging hard and staying focused. He's got it in the bag. He's having fun.
That's the important thing. Thing.
I am so happy as a dad, man. This is great.
That's a great thing to hear. Well, what is your specific question tonight, my friend? We want to hear from you.
No question. How's your night?
It's I'm gonna go for a nice little walk. It's still sunny out here. I don't have any dinner plans. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like I said earlier, 1 minute at a time is what I'm going with, Sean.
Good man yourself, brother.
There you go. I appreciate your super chats and donations tonight, buddy.
All the best, champ.
All right, Sean, check it in with the greatest accent on our show because James or David have not called in from the UK yet. They might win once they get here. All right. I got some blathers here to get to. Some super blathers. Sean McCabe says for the blathering. Thank you for that. Malcolm has one here. Hey, Ken, think about how I've watched you for 10 years. One of my longest relationships. You've been here for members of the community in ways that mean more than you know. I hope you're okay. I'm going to be okay. That's all I'll say right now. You guys will hear when it's time. But I'm hanging in there and looking forward to a new tomorrow. Literally, just tomorrow when I wake up. I'm looking forward to it. Chris Cake says, in honor of Harry Callis, John Kruk, Vince Scully, Merrill Reese, and all the announcers whose voices make us fall in love with sports even more. Thanks for your time, thoughts, and Harry Callis impression. I don't know if it's a good one, Steve. In my head, it sounds perfect. It's not. Oh, we're still muted. Sorry.
I'm still doing that thing. Yeah. No, it's okay. You know that thing where you sound better in your own head?
Yep.
Kind of like I just did when I was talking to myself, but you couldn't, or no one else could hear me. Yeah. That's all. That's how a lot of people are with impressions. If you're really good at an impression, Ken, someone will tell you. That's my thing with impressions.
Yes. Yeah. No. I thought, because I was such a fan of like Phil Hartman and everyone growing up when I wanted to be on SNL. And I remember trying to do voices, but I could only do SNL voices. Like I could only do Dana Carvey's George Bush. I couldn't do George Bush. And at some point I just had to accept that, I can't do voices. I can only do the vibe. So Harry Callis is a vibe, but it's not Harry Callis. It's okay. I'll live with it. Yeah. All right. Final one tonight, though. Ken Plume has a hot to trot question here. Hot pizza or cold pizza? We should just do this as a poll. We might even do this as a blather bracket. Well, how do you like your snacks? I'm always going to go hot, but there's a lot to be said, Steve, for cold pizza, especially when it all kind of sticks together and you can just stuff that in your mouth and go to town.
No, you're going to have to sell me on cold pizza, Ken. This is one of my food hot. Well, I guess a cold take. I'm anti-cold pizza. Give me hot pizza or keep your pizza.
So Laserbolt says hot. Jared the Time Pilot says, depending on how drunk I am, that is a great answer. JMB, prefer hot, but I have zero against cold. We eat cold just fine. But you're anti-cold pizza.
Won't eat cold. I'll eat my wings cold, but I need my pizza hot.
What's the difference? I get the difference, but explain why cold chicken meat, not cold cheese and pepperoni?
Well, because the cold chicken meat's usually like just smothered in Frank's hot sauce and butter or something. So that usually does it for me.
So it becomes a breakfast food. I got it. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Oh, cold chicken wings are good. Morning, midday, night. You can have those anytime.
Okay, I haven't done this yet. I have not had I've had a lot of cold pizza in my life. Have not had a cold. Never had cold chicken wing.
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay,
delicious.
I want to find out more about this.
Yeah, the next time you just get wings, just like put like 3 aside, and just like let them go.
Okay.
It's kind of like pasta sauce, where it's like it's kind of almost better the next day. I'm not even kidding.
Okay, okay. I actually get that because I have some spaghetti to make with some tomato basil sauce, right? Great. It's going to be good. Love it. Hot pasta. Slurp it up. Disgusting. Everyone in the room's disgusted watching me eat. Totally good. But the next day, I'll microwave it a little bit. But if it comes out a little lukewarm or cold, I'm happy. I don't have to go back and warm it up.
No, the key is I do pasta every Sunday. Ken, I'm one of those. My mother's an old Italian lady.
This is why you're going to be Pope. This is why you're going to be Pope.
You're right. Yeah. So yeah, let me as I'm talking about my pasta here. So what I do every Sunday, I make pasta. I make sauce. I don't make the pasta. I'm not going to lie and tell you I make the pasta, but I make sauce every Sunday. And you save it. It's almost always better the next day. The key with with good sauce though, the fact that it just gets better over time is it's love, Ken. Pasta sauce is made with love. Period. End of story. And that love kind of marinates over that time, and so that's why I love having. And I also, my mommy taught me how to make my sauce. So
okay, this is I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah.
I think the consensus is hot pizza, but there's a lot of people who are
hot pizza.
excited about the cold pizza. But 898 for M opens up this. Get yourself a cold wing. All right,
it's good.
That's the lesson of tonight. Cold wings.
Cold wings are good. It's worth it. You just, again, the pro tip, have a little extra sauce, because the sauce does get kind of like like kind of stiffer a little bit. But if you have a little extra sauce, oh yeah, you're good to go.
See, look at this, Narcolepsy 27. I will plan to eat cold pizza, like buy it, set it on the shelf, eat it the next day. Amazing. Good to know. All right, we've done it. Important questions answered tonight. We talked about it all, Steve. Are you excited for the Blather Bracket final on Thursday?
I am pumped for the Blather Bracket final on Thursday. Thank you so much to everybody who has voted, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone wants to see for this final. This is going to be tough. Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's not the most surprising final, but
no,
it's going to be tough.
But it's going to be a big one. Sometimes those things you expect, they deliver. So that'll be Thursday, 5 p.m. in the Pacific. Join us, call, support. Thanks for Super Blathers tonight. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. As we love to say here, we'll see you next time. Bye.